All right, let's keep going here now in Unit 10, showing Desmos and how we can get through difficult questions like this. So they're asking you to use the grouping method to factor, which means take something that is written as adds and subtracts and turn it into things multiplied. That's what factoring does. But we're just going to go ahead and show how Desmos can just match the graphs up, and I don't really even have to worry so much about what I need to do to this factor by grouping method. Now, again, it's a good thing to ask your teacher how that all works, gathering GCFs of the front and the back, finding out that they have like polynomials, and understanding the process behind it. All of that is good, but we also want to be able to check our work and make sure we're doing it correctly by putting these into Desmos and seeing if the graphs match. And as I look here, right off the jump, I get that the blue and the first choice, the black, are identical matches, so that I would choose A. Now, again, remember, factoring means changing things that are added and subtracted into things multiplied. Now, I can definitely put each of these in and match it up, but I also want to make a point to show you something else. Anything times 0 is, of course, 0. So when I put the original trinomial into Desmos, I see that it crosses at -8 and +3, crosses the x-axis. The y's are 0, meaning if you plug -8 in for x, the answer would be 0, or if you plug 3 in for x, the answer would be 0. That is a clear indicator of what my factors are. It's this first choice, because 3 minus 3 is 0, and 0 times anything is 0. -8 plus 8 is 0, and 0 times anything is 0. So you don't even really have to put these in. I'll show you just so you can see that one is the standard form and the other is the factored form, and the graphs will in fact match. But knowing that the zeros are -8 and 3 means the factors are x plus 8 and x minus 3. That's going to be a really big help to you, especially as you get to ones like this, where they're not giving you the whole factors with which to match up a graph. You actually have to know what the factors are, and that the factors are the places, or the numbers rather, that you plug in for x that make the equation or the expression equal 0. So what we're looking for here, we'll zoom in a little, and we see where, let's see here, 4x squared plus 23 minus 6. We're looking for these two places where y is 0, so -6 goes in, and so does 0.25. What I can then do is run this through. Now again, -6 is a 0, so x plus 6 must be a factor, but let me show you. If I plug x plus 6 in, notice how it crosses the x-axis at the same place the original trinomial does. That's a key indicator that x plus 6 is one of the factors. Now, which one of these also goes through there? So if you were looking for the one that crossed, I'll just leave that one up. If you're looking for the one that crossed at the other location, it isn't that one. We'll try the 2x plus 2, which I know is not going to work. But again, notice it does not cross where the green one crosses. Let's try the next one, 4x minus 1. And there it is. It crosses at the exact same place that this one crosses. So there's your two factors. X plus 6 crosses at this 0, and 4x minus 1 crosses at that 0. My two factors would be 4x minus 1 and x plus 6. So use the fact that those factors will cross the x-axis at the same location. That's how you can find the factors. What are the zeros of a function? Well, because these locations where they cross the x-axis are so important, it's where it makes the equation equal 0, we call them the zeros. But if they're looking for them, all we have to do is plug them in and click on them. -6 and +5. Those are the zeros of the function. And then we got an example here, factor the expression. Now, this is a special case. Your teacher can teach you what the difference of perfect squares is. It's when you have only two terms with a minus in between, and the front and the back are both perfect squares. 36x squared is a perfect square of 36, and 49 is 7 squared. So we know the front and back would be 6x and 7, and there would be a plus or a minus in between. We know that D is going to be the answer if we know how difference of perfect squares works. But if we're on the test, maybe it's been a little while since we've taken our algebra class and now we're taking the state test, even though it says factor and even though it's a special case, nothing prohibits you from plugging that in and making sure that, oh, that's the rule. One will be plus, one will be minus of the two perfect squares, and we just match that up. So that should help you get through Unit 10, and have a good time with that.